Reps call for delay of computer-based exams until 2030. House to review bill to boost cocoa industry. And lawmakers move to strengthen border security. This week on You and Your Reps, we take you a little closer to the engine room of lawmaking, where the decisions that affect everyday life begin their journey. From the issues shaping conversations at the National Assembly to the stories behind the committees and the people who sit on them, we bring you clarity, context, and the voices that matter. I am Victor Azu. Welcome. The House of Representatives has stepped in to stop the West African Examination Council, WAEC, from introducing computer-based exams next year. Lawmakers say the system is not ready and want the rollout delayed until 2030, warning that rushing it could trigger mass failure.
Citing technical glitches in the 2025 WAEC results, lawmakers insist that the time is not ripe for computer-based examination, as many secondary schools nationwide lack requisite facilities. The House therefore kicked against forcing CBT on students without upgrading digital infrastructure through budgetary allocations.
It is wrong to start this policy now without adequate preparation. Computer-based examination requires fully furnished hall with functional computers, internet facility, constant electricity supply, be it from the national grid or standby generator.
This motion is referred to the Committees on Basic Education, Digital and Information Technology, Basic Examination Bodies.
Lawmakers also raised alarm over mounting refuse dumps and malfunctioning streetlights in parts of Abuja and environs.
Blockage of drainages and sewage systems and the pervasive darkness from dysfunctional street lights.
Especially during rainy season. If you see the kind of hold-up caused by blockages of drainages.
Go to Gorimpa and see the filth. They have taken over the streets.
Acknowledge and commend efforts that are being made and then make additional recommendations or suggestions on how to improve on what is on ground.
The Federal Ministry of Works was asked to include rehabilitation of Dikwa, Mafa, Maiduguri Road in the 2026 budget estimates to ease movement of commuters along that corridor.
The deteriorated state of Dikwa, Mafa, and Maiduguri Road is being exploited by Boko Haram and insurgent groups to carry out attacks on commuters and security forces.
Lawmakers expressed worry over a recent hike in the price of fertilizers and other farm inputs, urging the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to intervene.
A 50 kg bag of urea fertilizer is now selling at about 60,000 naira, which stakeholders have described as the highest in 10 decades.
The House received the reports of its Committee on Oceans and Fisheries to establish 3 institutions in Rivers and Lagos states for manpower development to support Nigeria's blue economy. Meanwhile, the gale of defections in the House continues as 2 lawmakers from Kano State left the NNPP for the APC.
Elsewhere, the House of Representatives is preparing to take up a major new bill that could reshape Nigeria's cocoa sector. President Bola Tinubu has forwarded the National Cocoa Management Board bill for speedy consideration, signaling a push to overhaul regulation and boost the industry's competitiveness.
The bill seeks to establish a National Cocoa Management Board to regulate, promote, and harmonize cocoa-related activities across the country and for other connected purposes. The establishment of the board will enhance effective coordination of the cocoa value chain, improve standards, and strengthen Nigeria's participation in the global cocoa economy.
Still on agriculture, the House resolved to look into challenges affecting domestic rice production and the closure of rice mills around the country.
The unchecked smuggling of rice through porous borders has made legitimate operators uncompetitive, compromised food safety, and emboldened criminal activities. The country may be losing billions of naira due to the closure of most of these rice mills.
An ad hoc committee was set up to investigate federal government landed properties and buildings abandoned across the country.
National Library Building, Abuja, Nigerian Newsprint Manufacturing Company Building, Kaduna, Kaduna Textile Building, Nigerian Aluminium Smelting Company, Delta State, etc. Federal government can rescue some of the landed properties and buildings and projects through private-public partnership to avoid continuous wastage and weakening of the structures and loss of value.
Lawmakers also queried non-compliance with some provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act.
Many oil companies failed to fund the host community development trust as incorporated and have not been able to pay the sums equal to 3% of the actual annual operating expenditures to the host communities trust funds in their areas of operations.
30 bills passed first reading at Wednesday's plenary, including the National Mines Rangers Establishment Bill 2025.
And the House of Representatives is stepping up efforts on border security, following the Ministry of Interior's proposal for a national policy to tackle crimes along Nigeria's land borders. Lawmakers are also considering a review of the ECOWAS Free Movement Protocol to strengthen control and curb cross-border threats.
This meeting between lawmakers and stakeholders in Nigeria's border security architecture stems from escalating cross-border crimes and the need to nip them in the bud. Everyone agrees that the porosity of the nation's borders is compounded by inadequate personnel and technology to checkmate cross-border crimes. Little wonder there is emphasis that Nigeria needs cooperation with neighboring countries to effectively manage border security.
The absence of multilateral joint border security framework between Nigeria and neighboring countries is a challenge. We also need to properly delineate Nigeria borders and produce an updated map of Nigeria border frontiers.
We need to deploy more technology. We need to have drones that would survey and man our borders, because we have boots on ground, but boots on grounds cannot be everywhere.
We recommend enhanced surveillance technology. Increase in recruitment must be allocated to critical border zones.
The goal is to identify vulnerabilities, operational shortcomings, and even compromised border officials.
We can and will reclaim control of our borders and build a more secure future for all.
The House of Representatives is pushing for the completion of the Armed Forces Physical and Health Institute and Games Village in Esa-Oke, Osun State. We spoke with Oluwole Oke, who represents Obokun, Oriade Federal Constituency, to find out why finishing this project in his constituency is so important for both the community and the military.
Sometimes in 2008, President Yaradua, of blessed memory, approved the establishment of the Armed Forces Physical and Health Institute and Games Village in Esa-Oke. The community donated 100 hectares of land, 1 million square meters of land for that purpose. Year in, year out, there have been budgetary allocation. There are a lot of structures already in place. Lecture rooms, games theaters, everything almost in place. So what is outstanding there are not that much. If budgetary provisions in the last 3-4 years, are implemented, the place will become operational. structures are okay. The structures are there. The pitch, the stadium, the mini stadium they constructed there is there. I don't think that will be a problem. It's just for them to put the infrastructure, the facilities into use. And even the conventional institutions that we have, year in, year out, we make capital budget allocation to them for the infrastructure facelift. The most important thing is for the Chief of Defense Staff to deploy personnel to the place. Otherwise, the institute might be counterproductive because it has become a hideout for criminals, kidnappers. So it is important that the Chief of Defense Staff urgently deploy his men to put the place into use. Aside, fulfilling the major objective of producing men and women in the armed forces, in the areas of sports, right? Such a project will also, provide security because the personnel are military men. Do you understand? Their presence alone will ward off criminals around the area. Now, it will also boost the economy of the area because the security men, the armed forces personnel that will be working or living there, right, will also need one thing or the other to buy in the markets, So it will trigger a lot of economic activities in the area. It will lead to employment of local persons in the area. Usually members, we support each other because our constituent brought us here. So if another member is also taking a project to his constituency, I will also support them. So it received overwhelming support of the House. There was no any dissent. So once I have the approved votes of proceedings of today, then I will personally take it off from there. But procedurally, the Parliament will also convey the resolution of the House to the Chief of Defense Staff, to the Attorney General of the Federation, and to DG and DG Budget and Minister of National Planning, for further actions as mandated by the House.
Now, budget pardon is one of those phrases that has lingered in Nigeria's political space for years, often controversial, sometimes misunderstood, but always raising questions about how the nation's budget is put together. So this week on Legislative Terms and Tools, we are taking a step back to understand what budget pardon really means in parliamentary practice, why it keeps coming up, and how lawmakers themselves define or reject the term. This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment takes us into the heart of the Constitution amendment process. So we sit down with Deputy Leader of the House, Abdullahi Ali Halims, who breaks down the priorities of the 10th House, from long-standing demands like state creation to expanding representation for more women.
By the privileges bestowed on this 10th Assembly and the desire of the 10th Assembly and the country as a whole to, alter or amend the Constitution as regards to so many, so many desires. The 10th Assembly has come up with the revision of the Constitution in terms of creation of states, special seats for women, community policing or state police, and several other desires of the people of the country. So what we are doing now is attending to their requests in all the zones of the country. We've traveled, we've called for memorandum, we've sat with several organizations, groups, and we are working on so many other things. There is more desire and there's more people buying in, more legislators buying into the demand for special seat for women in this current assembly. And it appears that, yes, people are beginning to get more awareness that, yes, for a good democracy, for effective governance, that there's need to increase more seats for women. Women's voice to be heard more in the parliament. And that is exactly why we now see more people are beginning to get the consciousness, the desire, and for more women to get more seats, so that more voices of women will make contribution to our democracy. It is democracy. What people desire is what we give to them. That's what is called democracy. It's government of the people, by the people, for the people. We can now see that, yes, the atmosphere is full of desire for more seats for women. That's democracy. And the women are lobbying so fast with high intensity to get this desire satisfied. And you must follow the desire of the people. And the women are lobbying so with alacrity. And by the grace of God, even the legislators too, the male legislators, are seeing the desire. And even on the international world, you see that our democracy is shortened because of our inadequate women representation. So we want to, make sure that, yes, we measure up with the world standard. So it's not about cost. We have enough resources, and by the grace of God, effective management is all we needed in this country. We want women to be given a seat, especially in the House of Representatives, every seat, every state to give one woman a special seat. And that will bring in about 37 more women into the parliament, including the FCT, Federal Capital Territory. If that is passed into law anyway, that's our desire. And that will help the country to the best of my knowledge. State policing, in a way, is to the cost, in terms of cost, to be borne by the state government. But there's also what we call community policing, but the control will come from the federal government. Because of that, some of the state governors dodging from the cost burden. And you can still see that some governors are equally very interested in that state policing. But some section of the country are saying in terms of governance, in terms of control, and so many other factors, they want to, some major contribution from our, various parliamentary sessions are going in for community policing, that the cost and the control will be borne by the federal government. But in all this, it's a proposal. They are all proposals subject to ratification by the 36 states of the country, and that will make what will make it a law in any way. 2/3 majority of the states. That's almost about 24 states or thereof. Creation of states are majorly what some people, majority of the people now crave for. I am even one of them. From my own state, Kogi State. It is our desire, very, very, very desirous of the entire Igala Basa Kingdom to have a state of their own. Not because we are oppressed, no, but because we want further development for the entire people of Igala Basa Kingdom. I'm fronting for them in the National Assembly by virtue of my position and a member of the Constitutional Review Committee. So other states too. Some states are looking for further states because of maybe their ethnicity. Some is because of regionality. You understand? So these are why varying states are craving for more states.
And that's you and your reps for this week. As always, we remain committed to breaking down the work of Parliament in a way that keeps you informed, included, and connected to the decisions made on your behalf. I am Victor Azu. Thank you for watching and see you next week.